Okay, everyone, welcome to today's class. Yesterday we talked about how to print into the screen, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to read from the user, from the keyboard. So let's begin by creating a new C file, and let's call it name.c. So I'll begin with a comment telling the name of the file, and then I will create the include and our main function. So this is a skeleton, so to speak, that we will use for all our code. And today we're going to start by asking the user about their name using the printf function, just like the last time. So we ask the user for the name, and in order to save the name from the user, we need to use a variable. So a variable is like a little box inside the computer's memory with a name tag that we can use to store information that we want to use later on. So we will create a variable like this. We'll call it name. Okay, so this has three parts. The first is the char. That's the type of the variable. There are a lot of different types of variables. We have char, which is storing letters and text strings. And then we have int, which stores an integer. That is a number without any decimal points. We have float, which stores a float number. That is a number with a decimal point. And there's a whole lot other ones. In our case, we use a char because we want to store letters in the variable. So char is a type, name is the name of the variable, and we can call it whatever we want. We can call it X or we can call it ABC. We can't use any like foreign characters or spaces or anything like that, but regular characters and numbers is okay. And then optionally we have a size declared. So we will get into that more when we'll talk about arrays, but for now let's think about this as the total number of characters that we will be able to save inside this variable. Okay, so now we have our variable. Now we want to read from the user's keyboard and store it into this variable. And there are a lot of different ways to do that. Today we are going to use the scanf method because it's an easy function to use. And we will talk a little bit more about the upsides and downsides of that function later on. So the scanf takes at least two arguments. The first is called a format string. So that is basically telling scanf what kind of variable that follows. So %s, that means a string. We want to read a string of characters. And then we have the name of the variable with an ampersand in front of it. And why do we use an ampersand in front of the variable name? Well, we will get into that later on. It's kind of advanced to discuss this early on in the course, but for now, always use an ampersand in front of the variable name when using scanf. Not when using like printf, but using scanf. Okay, so now we have read the variable from the user. Now we want to use that information. And we will use that information in order to greet the user. And once again, we use this format strings. We print hello, and then we have this %s. And this part will be replaced by the contents of this variable. And then we will exit our program. So we create a variable in order to store information. We print out the question. We read from the keyboard and saves that into the variable. And then we use this, the contents of this variable to print out this message. We save, we compile. And as I mentioned before, when using the GCC to create our program, this is the input file and this is the output file. So if everything goes right, we will have our program in this file. And that's the one that we start with the /. So now it prints out what is your name. I will print out my first name. And it uses that information in order to greet me. So today you have learned a couple of things. You have learned how to create a variable of the type char with a size of 32. We have talked again about how to use printf in order to print onto the screen. We have learned how to use the scanf and the format string in order to read from the keyboard into a variable. And then we have learned how to print that information to the screen. Thanks for watching and thanks for today.